Hey guys, Forsaken here, and today I will be bringing you a guide for the Empire faction in Warhammer Total War. Let's start this summary playing here while I give you some tips for the early game. Basically what you want to do first is, I'm playing on very hard by the way, is you want to get Reichland ASAP. So turn 5, you should have all of Reichland to be yours here. And the next thing you want to do is you want to deal with orcs that invade you, and you want to get the quest done if you can. The thing is that I got attacked here and I got pretty much wiped out almost completely. This was, I think, the worst early game I ever had. But I think it taught me a lot about how to deal with bad situations. So after you get Reichland, you want to go up to 2 stacks of army right away if you can to defend what you have. I was in the middle of this, but then several things happened. I got attacked by orcs, which basically traded evenly with my army, and then there were like 1.5 full stacks of army from the south, which I couldn't really defend by the Bastone faction, so I got contained on the Altdorf here, and then I built up 2 stacks of army on Altdorf economy alone, and then basically went ahead and conquered them all. The thing is, get 2 stacks of army anyways, one to be aggressive, one to be defensive, where your main army cannot really defend. Try to get Marineland port if possible. I didn't get it in this one, but was because of the really bad start, and Marineland was way too strong by the time I got enough army and I got rid of my opponents in the south to get Marineland, so I couldn't get it. If you can get it, it's really great. The port is really, really important. Once you reunite Reichland, try to get the growth commandment. Try to get this for every region or every province you get, because until you do get all the settlements leveled up. That's really important, so you get those building slots. For buildings, try to go for the following, we can look at this here for a moment. Try to go for the following structure. You can see I have this for like everything. Level this up ASAP, then get Tailor's Guild and get walls. And then you have 1 flag slot for every settlement you own here. So plan accordingly what you want to do with these flag slots. They do not have to look like this. That's up to you. But I would recommend getting the walls, getting the income building, and leveling this up ASAP. And then depending on what your plan is, and this also depends on which regions you get, additionally to Reichland, try to plan this out as early as possible, you know. And you will see that like everything looks kind of the same here for me. What you can also see is that you should focus on economy really early on. In Reichland, I had also the Tailor's Guild before I replace it with other stuff. So that's really important that you focus on economy very early on. So get these settlements leveled up. This gives you income, and get those Tailor's Guild in every single city. This is really, really important. Also get the walls so you have garrison to defend, and they cannot really raid these really easily. If you can, and if you have more than Reichland, I think this is a little bit different on Legendary. On Legendary, I think the best tactic should be to turtle, but that's only what I read, so this could be wrong. But once you get more than Reichland, you can go up to 3 stacks of army, and I will go to army composition in a moment. Try to get trade agreements with every faction possible ASAP. Basically, check it every single turn. You can see that like right now this is self-explanatory. Like self-explaining. Sorry for this bad English here in German. But get trade agreements with every faction ASAP, and try to cover the sides you are not fighting. So for example, right now, if I would have gone down here like I did in the early game, I would have made like basically non-aggression pacts up in the north, and once I got up to the north, I would have made non-aggression pacts to the south, so that's really important. What you also need to do here is you need to go to settlements, and you can go ahead and try to look for 1 settlement factions which do not have allies, and you can conquer them if they are in, let's say, a good position, you know, and in a position that you can defend, that is next to yours. So that's why I don't go to Nordland, because why would I do that? I would expose myself to like all the sides here. and have an army completely out of position. But if you can, try to keep an eye out early game for those factions, try to conquer them if possible. Next thing you want to do is, after you got Reichland, try to conquer something else. Once again, what you can do is you can try to go ahead and conquer Marineland if you can. If you don't, I would recommend going south or like southeast, just to don't really extend yourself way up north for the chaos that comes later on. Because if you get up north, they basically get all the coastline to attack you. They get all of these areas to attack you from. So you really open yourself up to, I think, more spots than you can defend, realistically speaking. And that's not even with a war in the south. That's possible too. So I would recommend going south in some capacity, maybe west. But if you go north, be mindful of the possibilities that you face here. Alright, so the quest thing is, once you get a quest, do it, kind of. You can teleport to it on the quest screen for 5,000 gold, so do that as well. This saves a lot of time and gives your army doesn't lead to your army being out of position. Keep your special early game units alive is really important, especially for the Reich Guards. If you start with France, then it's really, really important that you keep those alive because the Reich Guards really, really carry you. So try to do that and try to keep your early game units alive if possible. The thing is that I would recommend disbanding the gunmen and the halberdiers because you just do not need them early game. They have really high upkeep in comparison to their usefulness, so I wouldn't really keep them. I try to go for exclusively swordsmen and for crossbowmen, one agent and my leader for my early game armies. That's like how my 3 early game armies look like, my first 3 stacks. Once I unlock more and I get the income to sustain it, I try to get 1 leader, 1 agent, 4 crossbows, 1 to 4 cavalry once I unlock them, 1 to 2 mortars, the rest swordsmen. And once I face cavalry or pretty huge creatures, I will basically get 3 to 4 units of spearmen or halberdiers, depending on what point of the game it is and if I can afford them. The thing is, don't go overboard with this. Don't go for one strong army, because that's not how this game works. You need multiple stacks to defend multiple regions. So try to go for 3 to 4 armies that are alright, you know, like you can mix in some high techie units, but you don't really need to. Try to get those, try to go for more quantity over quality in the early game. And try to get an income to 4 to 5k every single round, even with all those armies. And once you can sustain this income with 3 to 4 full armies, and you get more income, you can either choose to invest those into upgrading your settlements, or you can invest those into upgrading your army. But don't cripple your income, because there can be times where your income will drop because you lose a settlement, you get a bad event, stuff like this. So don't try to cripple this income very much. So once you get up to, let's say, a little bit better quality army, I go normally for like the same 3 to 4 riflemen, then 3 to 4 halberdiers for the huge creatures and stuff like this, and anti-cavalry. Then I replace like all my swordsmen with great swords, and I will have my 1 agent and my 1 leader most of the time. Recruit and level up all your agents early game. Deploy them to get them experience, take them in your army to get them experience, take them into battle to get them experience, basically get them experience. Assassinate all the agents you can, especially chaos ones. So once the agent spam begins, you should be able to hold it off by just having all your agents at a decent level. They will still be underleveled compared to chaos, but they will be at a decent level. And the thing is, if you have the economy, like a 5k plus income per round, you can afford to assassinate those opposing agents every single turn. And that's what I really recommend doing, because this levels level your agents up further, and they become really important, for example, for getting public order and stuff. So get all the agents early game, or like as early as possible, level them up as much as possible. They become really important later on. Once you get into a certain direction, get going to crush an opponent, stuff like this. Try to get non-aggression pacts with the opposing side. So if you go to the south, try to get non-aggression pacts in the north to keep them off your butt. But try also to get one stack of army or half of a stack army in this direction as well, because it's not 100% that they won't attack you. So just be ready for that. Do not get into any alliances though, because if you get into alliances, they will get into war with some faction you do not want to go to war with, and they will drain your economic resources, they will drain your army power, so do not get into war or into any alliances because of that. I basically didn't get into any alliances even up to this point. Try to keep an eye out on the map for settlements, like over here for example, that are raised, so that when they are raised you can go there and you can retake them. You need to be relatively quick, so it might be a good idea to just get one general for this one raised settlement and then go ahead and take it. That's how I get all of these lands here in a moment. Try to keep an eye out for one settlement fraction or factions in the diplomacy screen. That's pretty important because you can just wipe them out pretty easily if they do not have allies. So try to do that if possible, and if you can defend the settlement you get. Be careful with confederations. I will get the Marineland faction over here pretty soon, sadly without the Marineland port. So try to get those confederations, but also try to be ready for the bad things that will happen to you, like -8 public order for 10 turns, I think, and they may be pretty low on money. You can go to diplomacy and payments to see how strong the economy is rated, but that's just an indication. So try to be prepared with +8 public order or a little bit of a buffer for public order, so you can take those -8 for 10 rounds, plus corruption, plus other stuff that might happen, like events. So be ready for that so you don't get a rebellion, and then try to be ready for the financial drawback you might get. Also, be sure you can defend a settlement if you get it. Like, the most important thing is that if you have full stack army, it might be better to place it right outside a settlement, even though it can get looted and raided because the army is not in it. But it might be better if your army cannot fight your opposing army. Do not put it in a settlement when an opposing army might attack and kill it, because if it gets killed in a settlement, it's all gone for good. So it's better if you have those situations that you get attacked, fight the battle, and retreat, and then maybe survive with a little bit of your army, so it doesn't get completely crushed. If you have really bad public order, for example in the early game, it's really important that you just let this public order go to a rebellion most of the time. For example, in my early game, I will go for one rebellion every single time. For this rebellion, it's really important that you keep one slot in your main army open, because if you wipe out the mortar guys like completely after the battle, that nobody escapes, you will get the mortar almost all the time. And this is a really, really important tool early game because it makes the opponent come to you. So try to keep that in mind. Crush the rebellion, get the mortar, keep one slot open in your army so you can get that. And if you have a region that is constantly rebelling or like has really, really bad public order, try to get this, just like try to get an army over there and crush the rebellion that will come, and they will rise in public order. The other thing is, try to be mindful with your army movements. I find myself constantly switching between the march stance and the normal stance. So if you just need to move anywhere, be ready to just go for the march stance and not forget it, because it saves you a lot of time. And in this game, like, time is really important, especially if you have all the marauding chaos armies. Try to cut them off, block important crossovers over the river, stuff like that. I think it's okay to give up settlements in certain situations. For example, I took over Marineland, as you can see here, and I didn't really want those settlements here because I couldn't defend them. I would open myself up to a lot of counterattacks. I would spread myself too thin, so I just basically gave them up. It's really important that you realize when it's okay to give settlements up, so you can cover the really important things. That's the same with like over here. I would not recommend getting involved into this kind of part of the map, especially the coast regions. That's also why I basically gave my opponents this region over here, because I didn't want to have it, even though it was a race and I could have gotten it, but it would have spread myself too thin, wouldn't have covered it with all the sea here. So try to limit your access to the sea if possible, to not open yourself up to those attacks. Yeah, I think that's it for me here. I hope you found this guide helpful. I think it's a little bit of an issue to get a good guide going for the Empire, or like for any faction for that regard, because the game is just like so dynamic. But I got like the worst start ever here in this game. I basically got completely beaten back to Altdorf and only got Reichland by turn 15 or something. So I think if you get this early game, you can hold it, and you even maybe get Marineland. It's totally possible that you can get to where I am way earlier, so like 30 turns earlier or something. I think this is a good possibility, or maybe 20 turns earlier than I do. So yeah, just try to keep it in mind. Also, try to keep in mind that you will confederate most factions of the Empire anyways. So instead of going into a really costly war against Empire factions, basically just try to prevent that until chaos comes, and then you can confederate them if you got the necessary precautions. If you have any questions, any feedback, any more tips, or you think anything I said is wrong, just leave me a comment in the comment section below this video, because I will be doing another guide, I think, once I finish the campaign, so I can incorporate your feedback there. And I think once I got this campaign done, I will start in Legendary, so if there's anything different there, I will let you know as well. Just one last thing, you can teleport to quests. So yeah, this is something I found out very late, and I'm not alone with this, so just thought I'd let you know. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Again, give me feedback if you like, and if you like what you see, subscribe. This is not really a Warhammer or Total War channel by any means, but I try to cover different games that I just enjoy playing, and if I feel like it, I make guides to them. So you might see more Warhammer content in the future, but you also might see more different content on the future. Regardless, if you enjoyed it, click the subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.